Housewives squad, we are back in the building. It's almost the holidays. Y'all ready to ring-a-ling-ling and jing-a-ling-ling all up in this news today? Listen, we got to talk about Erika Jayne. It sounds like she could be in some trouble for her actions from this weekend. And then we got to talk about CANDIACE Dillard calling Mr. Michael Darby a creep. But that whole conversation right there, it lends itself to a larger question that I have to ask you guys and get your opinion on as we head into the final part of the reunion this weekend. Let's get down to the news. But before we do that, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell button. Hit like on this video if you like reality TV related content, and also join the texting community so I can send you a text message as soon as a video. All right, now with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this Erika Jayne story. Okay, Erika Jayne is being accused of criminal conduct and harassment after exposing husband Thomas Girardi's relationship with Justice Trisha A. Bigelow. Get the tea on this. Now, y'all remember this past weekend, we told y'all that Erika had posted a screenshot of some messages from Justice Bigelow to her husband, Tom, okay? Now, it looked like these messages was from 2011 or something like that. But whatever the case may be, she posted them. It had the lady's phone number on there and everything. Well, apparently that number ain't changed at all, okay? Because according to this, the people was calling and texting this lady and harassing her after Erika posted that information online. And y'all know that's called doxing when you post somebody's, personal private information in a public forum like that. So apparently Erika is now being accused of the doxing, okay? Here we go. Now, they are saying that Erika's actions in maliciously doxing the justice were nothing short of criminal. This is what attorney Alan Jackson, who is representing Trisha, explained to the LA Times. He says, "We are considering our options to protect Justice Bigelow from further harassment," adding that Trisha had been berated with nasty text messages and phone calls after the number was shared. Now, y'all remember those text messages? There was some that was claiming that Tom had paid for Trisha's plastic surgery as well as her shopping bills and all kinds of other stuff, okay? Now, Trisha's attorney is saying that these events took place between Trisha and Tom years ago, okay? Apparently, she's been in a committed relationship with her husband for more than 4 years. She was personal friends with Tom for many years before her marriage, and at one point, they dated for a little bit. That relationship ended long before she met her husband, okay? They say at no time has Justice Bigelow violated any canon of judicial ethics. Indeed, she takes great pride in her decades-long record of integrity, impartiality, and independence on the bench. So in other words, this is what this is saying to me, y'all. It's saying to me, she is trying to protect her now husband, okay? And she is saying, get me out of this mess. I was with that man years ago. It was years ago that he was paying for my plastic surgery. It was years ago that he was paying my shopping bills. That was years ago, Erika. You should have came with something that was in the present, okay? Now, here's the thing. Now, we note that obviously the number was hers and the message was from her, so we don't know if whether or not she was dating Tom while Tom was married to Erika, but that's what it looking like, okay? So, to me, it would seem if this mess happened all these years ago, then Erika has known for some time that Tom has been a cheater, but she chose to stay with him because the money was right. That money was right, okay? Now, I ain't mad at that. And relationships go through ups and downs and people cheat and get back together and whatnot all the time. So the question remains is, girl, if you stayed with him all this time, then why all of a sudden, now that he is in all this financial trouble, you trying to get a divorce from him, and now you bringing these text messages to the forefront? It looking like a scam, okay? That's what I'm saying. It looked like you're just trying to weasel your way out of something. So it don't look good for Erika right now. Listen, again, I want the best for everybody, but Erika, you need to settle down. Stop doing stuff. Don't do nothing else. Just do your Housewives gig, get your money from that, and try to keep it pushing, keep your head down, girl. Don't do nothing else. Don't do no more posting, okay? Now we need to move on into the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion. Let's get the tea, okay? People Magazine has the exclusive clip, and I will place it down in the description below so that you guys can get a look-see for yourself. Y'all know how we like to do it on the channel. We do a little previeworization of the episode before it actually airs because, it's popping off in the news. And in the news, they're saying that CANDIACE Dillard is calling Michael Darby a creep. Are we surprised? Absolutely not. Okay. Now let's get into let's get into the scene. Let's set the scene for it. Okay. So Andy's asking about Robin Dixon's party in which Michael and Kris Bassett had been gotten down into the thing. Okay. So Andy asked Kris what made him initially push Michael, and Kris says, I just don't tolerate disrespecting women, okay? Now, I don't know. I guess maybe he felt like when Michael said control your wife, maybe that was the disrespect, because the implication is disrespectful, but you know, maybe he just wasn't feeling Michael at that point in time, touching him. I don't know, whatever the case may be. Now, Chris Bassett goes on to say, Chris Samuels and I have had this conversation before. Ray and I have had this conversation before. And Michael has a history of disrespecting women on this platform, and I'm not going to let anyone disrespect my wife ever. It just won't happen. Okay, now, I ain't mad at that. I hear it. All right. So Ashley says, let's be clear, okay? A lot of women on this show have said derogatory comments about my husband on this show, and for some reason it is considered disrespectful if he defends himself. Now, this is the question that I want to ask you guys in the chatterization, okay? Is it disrespectful for Michael Darby to defend himself against some of the women saying derogatory things about him? Is that disrespectful? Okay, I want you guys' opinion about that in the chat down below, because I'm kind of conflicted on it. Because in certain respects, I do believe that, you know, for me personally, you cannot come at a woman the same way you would go at a man, being a man. Does that make sense to you guys? Am I making sense? You know what I'm saying? I just was always raised that you kind of have to approach women a lot differently, because it's just a respect thing, right? So anyway, then Ashley, while she's explaining her side or her husband's side, Candace says, because your husband is a creep, okay? But Kris has to tell her to settle down and let Ashley speak. Now, this is where I like Chris Bassett, okay? I've always liked Chris Bassett. I feel like he, for the most part, from what we can see, seems to try to rein Candace in. And she needs that balance because her reactions are always so over the top. You know what I mean? And I feel like he provides a little bit of balance for her in some situations, probably in most situations, whereas he can pull her down off of the ledge, okay? Now, Ashley is saying, there have been a lot of things said about my husband and he has defended himself, and some people have viewed that to be disrespectful, and yet it's okay to drag his name through the mud. That's not okay. Now, then Kris says, you and my wife have gone back and forth for many years and I've never gotten involved. If I had an issue with Michael, I would have gone to him at a separate time, not at someone else's party, not if I had been drinking. I would have reached out personally and said, hey, this is what is going on, okay? He then goes on to say that Chris Samuels almost beat the mess out of Michael because of, I guess, the situation where Ashley had accused Monique of drinking when she had her accident, okay? Apparently something happened with Michael and Chris Samuels, I guess before a reunion or something like that. Anyway, Chris Bassett says, point being, Michael came at you sideways. He didn't come at you the way I would, recalling Chris Samuels and Michael's fight 2 years prior. Chris Samuels says, I respect that. Then Robin, as usual, jumps on in and she says, I thank you, Kris, for calling about that night. I respect that. I didn't hear any type of thing from Michael in regards to an apology. This is some interesting stuff. I like, you know, when deeper issues are discussed on the show, and I'm interested to see how this whole situation plays out. And while the headline may read, Candace calls Michael Darby a creep, I guess the bigger question for me is, to you guys, when is it okay for Michael Darby to defend himself to the other women, or should he just bypass the other women and what the things that they say about him in general and just ignore it? What do you guys think should be done in these situations? Because the women on this show have had a lot to say about Michael, but it's honestly because Michael has continuously put himself in situations for them to say derogatory things. So it's kind of a, I mean, ooh, now that I think about it, I don't know, y'all, this is deep. Anyway, y'all let me know down in the comment section down below. Y'all, listen, It's the holiday season. Now, what I want y'all to do is be safe out there, okay? Enjoy your families and eat good, live your life, love on one another, and I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video.